Welcome to the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast, where art and wellness collide. I'm your host, Ashley, and I am so excited to connect with you today. Now, let's jump into today's episode, ready to rock and with an open heart. Well, hi and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today I'm really excited to have my new friend Sylvia with me. She is from TRE, tremendous TRE, and she does tension and trauma release, which is so exciting. She's here today to tell us a little bit about releasing the trauma that we have that manifests in the physical form, which is something I think so many of us experience. So welcome, Sylvia. Thank you so much for being here. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
Thank you, Ashley. And that was a nice introduction. So you get it. So what I do, I empower my clients to take their health and well-being into their own hands, because I teach rather than treat. And that is, well, to me, very important. Because teaching obviously is more empowering. So when my clients know how they can release tension they're holding in the body, it's a tool for life. We should also keep in mind that the majority of health issues, whether it's trauma or not, but so many of our health issues are based on too much tension caused by stress in our bodies.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think no matter what we feel that we've experienced in life, we all hold tension somewhere in the body.
Exactly.
I think a lot of us can probably recognize, at least one specific truly traumatic experience. And if you can't, like, holy cats, you are one lucky person if you can't. And I think on the same coin, many of us can probably identify a number of traumatic events that, and maybe I'm wrong, but I would guess that they build up a little bit over the time too.
Yes, and I mean, everybody defines trauma in a different way, because we all have different outlooks. I mean, some people might go through the same scenario, same incident, and one person says, gosh, this was traumatic, it was awful. And the other person hardly butters an eyelid and is like, well, that was fine. I'm used to it. Or it didn't affect me in that way because it didn't trigger me, based on their background and experiences. So I think it was Gabor Mate, who said, we have all experienced trauma, but some people are aware of it and others not. They are kind of maybe still in denial or still like brushing it off as in, well, that is life, or wasn't that bad really.
Yeah. Ooh. And you know what? And I think that part's really hard too, when you minimize it for yourself. It's not that bad, or somebody else tells you it's not that bad, but you're like, I think it was pretty bad now. And then, but then you end up minimizing it for yourself and kind of putting those feelings to the side.
Exactly.
And is that when we talk about like the tension that comes from it, would that make it worse generally if we just try to refuse the fact that it happened?
Generally, my approach is yes, or my belief is it would make things worse, because what you resist persists, and it's coming up in other ways, and rearing its ugly head. So I always say to my clients, what comes out of the body doesn't make you ill anymore, but what stays in the body can cause illness, or, well, chronic pain, gastrointestinal issues, whatever it is, because this symptom is like a cry for help of your body. Yeah, saying something isn't right. Give me some attention. Do something.
Yeah, I think a lot of everybody, self included at times, you just don't know where to start, right?
Yeah.
Or you can't recognize what's maybe actually causing it.
True, true. Or you are looking for the quick fix, yeah, where you're like, give me a pill. I just want to feel better. Yeah. Or you
Yeah.
hand over responsibility and go to somebody and say, fix me.
Right.
Yeah. Whether that's a counselor and you want to talk about your past, or whether it's a physiotherapist or an osteopath who works on your body. But my approach really is, and I work with many people who said, I've tried everything. I just feel I have to do it myself. And that's
Yeah.
the empowerment. So if somebody says, whatever, I've tried this, nothing worked, but I know my body is so clever and I can help heal myself. Yeah, that's the first step, really.
God, and that's huge power
Yes,
to to recognize that you can heal yourself and you can
absolutely.
find these tools to take care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, within limits, obviously. Yeah. What I can help people with is to release the tension. But as I said, keeping in mind that the vast majority of aches and pains and symptoms are based on tension, there's a huge possibility that TRE can help. If somebody has whatever, life-threatening illness or cancer or whatever, we can't just simply shake it off. Yeah,
No,
so
no,
that's what I'm
no, of
saying.
course
Within
not. Yeah.
limits, within
Yeah.
we hold too much tension in the body. So typical clients I've worked with are either teeth grinding or have neck, shoulder, back problems, tension headaches,
Okay.
migraines, gastrointestinal issues like IBS. All these symptoms suggest we hold too much tension in the body, and the tension then over time translates as aches and pains.
Yeah. And and I guess even to the point where it becomes like chronic pain.
Absolutely.
It's not just like,
Absolutely.
and we're not talking just, oh, I woke up with a sore neck today,
Yeah,
but it's long lasting pain.
absolutely.
I
Exactly.
mean, it makes life really difficult to go through too
Yeah,
when you're dealing with all that. Like,
absolutely. And quite often I've worked with many people who said, I went to my GP checked everything and said there's nothing wrong. Yeah, but what allopathic doctors quite often don't take into account is the mind-body connection. Yeah, there's something which is bothering me on a psychological, emotional level, and this translates as pain. And yes, I've got back pain, but my spine, my bones, my everything is fine. Yeah, so the doctor sees your back and says, well, you're everything's fine. Yeah, but the psychological, emotional component translates as, well, I've got back pain, and it's not in my head. It's real. It's real back pain. Yeah, and
yeah,
then it's I can help people to release the tension
it's really,
and
it's
the pain.
special. You said too that you are a Reiki practitioner as well.
Mhm.
And so were you practicing Reiki before you got into this?
Yes, yes. I've been practicing Reiki for a really long time. I think I qualified in 2011, and that was also when I encountered TRE for the very first time, because one of my Jigenden Reiki colleagues, she was at the time training in TRE, and she was looking for people to practice with. So in a way,
Oh,
Reiki
cool.
introduced me to TRE. Yes, yes.
It's funny because I think Reiki actually will introduce you to a whole bunch of healing modalities. And I think, I know when I was doing my Reiki courses, there was a lot of quantum touch and
Mhm.
things like that you could take in addition. And so I love that you also learned other techniques on top of
Yeah,
Reiki because
absolutely.
it all strengthens your practice, right?
Absolutely.
So when you agreed to be the test subject for your friend to practice on you, were you experiencing any pain yourself, or what?
N-
Did you have
Not at the
tension
time.
or?
Not at the time. I just signed up, well, first of all, to support her, but probably more honest, because I wanted to experience a new modality. I mean, at the time, I only had Jigit and Reiki in my toolbox. Later on,
Yeah.
I added other modalities, and most importantly, and I want to stress that I also have a foundation training in counseling. Yeah,
Oh,
but cognitive therapies. Funnily, I mean, I saw counselors, I saw psychologists for certain issues during my life, and it never did anything for me. I'm not saying
interesting.
that's not
Yeah.
working. I'm saying it never did anything for me. To me, it always felt like we are going round and round and stirring in this old shit. But
Yep.
how does it help
You can
me?
swear, don't worry.
And but I felt like, well, everybody is talking about counseling. I mean, this was my default. Yeah, we need to talk
Yeah.
through our shit. We need to analyze things. We need to make sense of the world and our whatever emotions. And yeah, I was like, okay, let me train as a counselor so I can make it better. That was yeah, my
Oh,
approach.
yeah.
And I trained, well, I have a foundation training in counseling, and
Right.
realized after the foundation training, well, it's exactly the same what I have experienced in when I was the client. It doesn't move or doesn't shift anything for me, and I never finished the training. When I then trained in TRE, which is body work, somatic, it was an eye opener. It was like really wow, this is what our bodies are about, and this is how clever they are, and this is how we can help ourselves. I mean, it was amazing. And yeah, now I'm obviously totally on the other side, and I'm always shouting from the rooftops how amazing our bodies are. And it's not just up
Yes.
here. Yeah, we are clever and our brain is
Yes.
amazing, but we need to work with the brain and the body, and need to
Yeah.
give the body the outlet to.
Because, I think too, like our bodies, pardon me, they store so much information, right? Even, pardon, not just like our memories,
Hmm.
but the
Absolutely.
body and the cells itself, they
Abs-
store, you know,
Absolutely.
all of those, like all of that, I don't know, muscle memory, I guess you could
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
There's that, have you read that book, The Body Doesn't Lie?
Yes, the body doesn't lie. I'm not sure about that, but um, the body
The
keeps
Body
the
Keeps
score.
Score.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
another
then
one.
Gabor Mate has another one. Gosh, now I can't remember its title, but it's also about goodness me, I can't remember the title.
It's
But it's
okay.
about the
But
body's cry for help, kind of. Yeah. Um,
yeah, and just it knows
yes.
inherently
Yes.
everything that's happened. It, and it
Yes.
works to protect, and it we have all these like incredible mechanisms to take care of ourselves and protect ourselves or heal ourselves, and in whatever way that may be. And I feel like a lot of it's just coming to be like scientifically proven, along with, you know with I hate the term the woo. I hate that actually, but more on the, let's just call it the new age side of things, right? The energetic, when you look at your body that way.
Yeah.
It's and I love that. I love it's being backed up now.
Yes, exactly. I was just about to say, it's not generally, well, many people say it's woo woo or it's too out there or it's new agey, but there's also another really beautiful book by Dr. David Hamilton. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a
Yeah.
scientist and he was in the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical industry, and then he worked on the placebo effect, and now realized how much is in the mind rather than in the pill. And he wrote this beautiful book, Why Woo Woo Works, and
Right.
it's really backed up by science. Why does Reiki work? Why
Right.
do several other, crystals or EFT, the tapping, the acupuncture, why
Yeah.
does it work? And there's science behind it. And I love all of that, Ashley. I totally, the same as Reiki, love all
Yeah.
of that. But what TAE isn't woo-woo. TAE is
No.
our body's innate and very natural reaction to get rid of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's really, really, yeah, the basics of our, system, really.
Yeah. How, we were talking, I mentioned my dog to you just before we
Yes,
before we started recording,
yes.
and just that he's always around, and maybe if you listen to past episodes you might hear him bark or might see him come say hi. But we we were talking about, like basically the stress response of all, well, you said all mammals, so dogs or
Yes.
people or cats, and so dogs you said will shake. And
Yes.
now what about people? Like, what does, I guess first I also want to know, does TRE work for animals? But I also want to know, does what does the actual kind of stress response generally look like for people?
So let's go. The quicker answer is, does it work for animals? The beautiful thing is they do it innately. They do it so
Right.
automatically. We don't need to teach them. Yeah. When a
Right.
dog encounters a stressful situation, they shake
Yeah.
and then life is good again. So this is
Oh.
just in their nature. We don't do that anymore because we've been socialized out of it. Only in
Oh.
very extreme circumstances is our brain not able to override the body and say, don't be ridiculous, it's not that bad. And when I say like extreme situations, is you might have seen people after, an accident, for instance, they get out of their car and their legs are
Right.
shaking.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or you see people who get bad news. I once spoke to a group of widows and they said, oh my God, now I understand why I was shaking when I got the news that my husband had died. And they were so scared and thought, oh my God, my husband has died. I'm going mad. What will happen to my kids? And I'm like, no,
Right.
your body was helping you to go through this bad news, through this, yeah, super stressful event much better. So what do we do as bystanders? And when we are in the situation, we try and calm the person down and tell them, oh, it's not that bad. Don't shake. It's absolutely fine. Calm down. Da, da, da. Worst thing you can do. So for anybody, I
Right.
always say for anybody listening, if you only take one thing away, don't
Yeah.
stop a person who is shaking after a stressful incident, because this is their body helping them to get over this shock much better. And what you can do is really give them the space and reassure them that their body is helping them and that they have all the space to really shake it off. And I once spoke to midwives who confirmed that many women after
Yeah.
childbirth, childbirth is traumatic, even if it's not necessarily a traumatic birth, even
Yeah.
if it's a normal
Yeah.
birth. Many women have postpartum shivers to
Yeah.
really for their body to really help them and release the trauma, the bodily trauma. And these midwives told me women who shiver after having given birth are less likely to have postpartum depression. So it's
Really?
all, yes, our body is, body, mind, soul, everything. We as humans, we as mammals are just perfectly designed because our
This
body
is
supports us. Yeah,
I
only
think
what I
everybody
said.
needs to shout about that. Like,
Absolutely, absolutely. It's
uh,
only, I mean, it's a societal, well, belief
norm
that
kind
when
of
you
thing.
shake, it's negative. You either have an illness, whether it is Parkinson, or maybe you have epilepsy, or maybe you are, people might think, oh, you are out of control. Yeah, you're shaking because you are, well, just maybe before delivering a speech. And
Right.
we don't want to, yeah, show this vulnerability or being out of control. But on the other hand, if we know that this is how our body support us, and our brain doesn't override the bodily reaction, and we can feel better afterwards, bring it on. Having said that,
Yes.
obviously, the majority of people don't think in that way, and nobody wants to shake after you or while you're having an argument with your boss or your partner or are somewhere on stage. But that's then again where TRE comes in, because you can retrospectively give your body the opportunity to release the tension that has built up over decades. Yeah, so it's not all lost, even if you've always like stiff upper lip and don't show any yeah, shaking or tremoring. You can release it retrospectively.
So, okay, you've kind of just blown my mind. So, I'll tell you, like, I never, honestly, I just thought, like, oh, like, oh, just say on stage, like, you shake because nerves or whatever.
Yes.
But you're saying these things, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, when I gave birth to my son, I remember my legs were horribly shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, and the doctor said to me, like, you're just being oversensitive. And, and you know what? I
Mm-hmm.
had horrendous postpartum depression. And I'm like, oh, maybe this doctor should have let me shake. I
Mm-hmm.
left, I left I'll just be nice, a very difficult marriage a few years ago,
Mm.
but I lived perpetually shaking at that time. And it
Oh.
took months for it to kind of just stop. And like, you probably couldn't really see it, but like, I could feel it in,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in my shoulders and my back. I don't think it was visible, but I always
Mm-hmm.
felt kind of just like someone was kind of holding my shoulders and just gently, not gently, aggressively, but subtly
Mm-hmm.
shaking me
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so
How
maybe
did that make
that,
you feel? Were you
um,
worried about that or scared about
yeah,
this
I mean, the whole
experience?
situation was terrifying for me. And
Totally get that. I mean, so the difficult relationship, but the
yeah,
shaking or the tremoring you experienced, was that scary for you?
I don't,
Worrying?
to be honest, I don't even know now. I think
Uh-huh.
it was worrying, but not that I was worried that something was like wrong with me
Mm-hmm.
physically, but I
Mm-hmm.
was just worried, like, kind of, am I so emotionally, for lack of a better word, messed up
Mm-hmm.
that I'll
Mm-hmm.
never recover from this?
Okay. Mm.
This is interesting.
Maybe you can appreciate what your body, well, retrospectively, appreciate what your body
Yeah.
tried to, yeah.
Yeah. And I look at it now and I'm like, thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. Yes.
it's,
Yes.
but I really, like I say, I just don't think that any of us really may, I mean, you do obviously, but
Well, I
realizes
do
how
now.
beneficial shaking is. Yeah.
I do
Yeah, that's
now.
true.
But as I said, I mean, in 2011, when I encountered it, I mean, I've always been very, very interested in alternative health. I managed a health food shop at the time. Um,
Yeah.
I, yeah, I read a lot about health. As I said, I had counseling and wanted to train as a counselor. I probably knew in terms of health more than Mrs. Box Standard. yeah, or
Yeah.
train blocks or whatever. But
Yeah.
I didn't know about shaking. I didn't know about, yeah, how clever our bodies are, because it was always like cognitive,
Yeah.
talking, analyzing, sorting things out, making sense of the world and the emotional world. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
everything.
No. I mean, I think there's definitely part of that that's really good. Talking through things, working through things that way. I know for myself, it's been helpful too, but
Mm,
I think we do need that holistic approach where we're really looking at that connection and how everything sits within us.
yeah, absolutely. And as I said before, Ashley, I'm not saying talking therapies don't do anything. I'm
No,
saying
no,
they
no.
didn't do
Yeah,
anything for me. Um, Obviously, there are people, and the beautiful thing is we are all unique and we are all very different and we like different things. There are still people who said, no, 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 I want to talk to my counselor or psychologist. Fine. But there are
yeah,
people like me who are like, well, that didn't really do anything, or I want to heal my
yeah,
pain and I don't see the connection. Why should I talk to a counselor? And it's not just pain. It could be anxiety as well. It could be anxiety. It could be anger. Yeah, that's also where your body can help you to
yeah.
let go.
And I would guess too that there are some people that are like, I want to take this tension away, but I don't want to talk about it. Not even that they don't, you know, haven't had a good experience. Maybe they just straight up don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the beauty. There's a whole variety of all kind of different. I mean, I also looked into EFT. I don't know if you've heard of EFT.
Yeah.
The tapping. Many people
Yeah.
refer to it as tapping. Um, I have foundation training in that as well, which again did more for me than the cognitive approach. Yeah,
Right.
but yeah,
Yeah.
we are all different, and everybody needs to find their ideal tool,
Right.
and then see what's best for them.
Yeah. What does this session? Well, okay, so how does it work? Would you g- go for like multiple sessions? Does it require ongoing, I guess, maintenance and treatment? What does a session look like?
Yeah. Um, so one session, you can learn TRE in one session. And so one session works with me like we do warm-up exercises, which are very
Right.
similar to yoga exercises. So there are six
Oh,
warm-up poses, which help us to fatigue our muscles, especially the muscles in the thighs. And once these muscles are, well, fatigued, tired, the tremoring
yeah.
process, which usually starts in the legs, just comes on easier. And which is very similar, just to explain, some people who work out and are in the gym, and then maybe
Yeah.
they've overdone it, and their
Oh, yeah.
whatever arms or legs start to tremor.
Yep.
Yeah,
Been
this
there
is
this morning.
exactly. Yeah, great. Yeah, this is also helping. Like, your body wants to release. Wants to release. So we have these six warm-up exercises. They also help the client when they do it, obviously for the first time, to really arrive in the space and start the session. And then I do a grounding meditation with my clients, because the most important thing is that the client feels grounded and safe. If they don't
Right.
feel safe, they don't let go. Quite often I
Yeah.
talk to clients beforehand and they are like, oh gosh, I want to be in control. I can't just, because the shaking is involuntary. Yeah.
Right.
So we can't control, or we can't say, oh, I want to shake in this way, or I want to shake in my neck because I have got neck pain. Yeah. You might only shake in your legs. but it
Right.
helps your neck pain. So what I'm saying is some people are like, I can't possibly give up control. I don't know how that works. Yes, but this is my job. Yeah. If the client feels
Right.
safe and their client feels their body and are in their body, and then I guide them to, yeah, after the grounding meditation, to go in the butterfly. So imagine you're lying on the floor, your feet are sole to sole, your knees fall out. This is the butterfly position. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
you very small, very slowly bring your knees towards each other. So an
Okay.
inch at the time, and you wait. And maybe another bit, and you wait. And at one stage, your legs most likely start to tremor. And this
Right.
is the actual TAE. And
Okay.
the way how they tremor is totally different because, again, we are all unique. And you can't say, but I want a tremor in my left shoulder, but I'm only
Yeah.
tremoring. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Your body does what your body wants to do and what your body wants to get hold of or release. And the only way, and I obviously that's one of the first things I teach my clients, is how to stop the tremoring process. Yeah,
Right.
you can't influence it in any way, but you can stop it at any time by stretching out your legs, and then it stops. And once you
Okay.
know that, you can practice. And this is like, I offer one session mainly for people who are just curious or want to just explore it and see, is it for me? But ideally, and this is based on my experience, we got sidetracked. I never told you about my very first TAE experience. But in my
No.
experience, um, I encountered TAE once and I was like, wow, this was relaxing. That was a bit weird. And then I
Right.
practiced a few times and it fizzled out. And that's why I designed my, well, TRE course over 4 sessions. So in session 1, the client might only shake for half a minute because we don't want to overwhelm the system. Yeah, you've stored
Right.
the tension over decades. You don't want to release it in one go. You want to do it slowly
Yeah.
and don't want to
Yeah.
overwhelm the body. Yeah. And in session 2 and 3, after a few days, we have session 2, another few days, session 3, we are building up the tremoring confidence. So you know, that's how my body reacts. And yeah, and that's how I feel. And yeah, and you need to remember to breathe, not just be like, oh wow, what's my body doing? Or it's normal to laugh or to cry. And most importantly, if I feel that's all too much, I stretch out my legs. Yeah, but then you have the
Right.
confidence and you know, okay, that's how far I can go and that's how my body reacts and that's what the actual TAE is. And then I send my clients away so they can practice for 4 weeks. And then
Right.
we meet for the fourth session. And the fourth session is really for me to see how has their tremor developed and can I help with interventions so they can get most out of the tremoring process. And this is my kind of course over 4 sessions. And then they are generally confident enough to say, okay, now I know how to tremor, how I know how to practice. I know, I feel the benefits, and it's their tool. So many clients save an awful lot of time as well as money. Yeah, I worked with one woman who saw her physio twice a week, her osteopath every fortnight. So imagine you drive there, you wait for an appointment, you have your appointment, you drive home, and this is all time. And now she's like, do you know what? I can shake for 3, 4, 5 minutes a day, every other day. I feel like a new person and
Wow.
I save, well, yeah, an awful lot of time.
Wow. That's really,
Yes,
it
empowering.
sounds very,
Really,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
empowering. Yeah, because you then have the tool to help and heal yourself.
Yeah. And I think, then in a way, the trauma doesn't control you anymore. You are
Right?
in well, I mean, it's empowerment, right? So, but you're in total control
Yes.
of that experience, and you know, and letting it go, of
And
course.
I mean, I was only talking about we release the tension we are holding in the system. But the second
Yeah,
part is we are also down regulating an overly active nervous system. So
yeah,
the person who is like constantly on edge or anxious or yeah, in this fight or flight mode,
yeah,
by down regulating the nervous system, they feel calmer, more relaxed, more at ease. And by
yeah,
practicing, yeah, ongoing. I mean, TRE is not a quick fix. I mean, some people, especially with physical symptoms, they notice after half a minute of tremoring, they notice, oh,
right,
I'm not holding my jaw or grinding my teeth anymore, or they notice, wow, my back feels different. Or I worked with somebody recently who had IBS issues, and I was like, God, it feels so much better in my tummy. Yeah, this can all happen
oh,
after, honestly, half a minute of tremoring. But the beauty is really the ongoing self-care, really. When you
yeah,
build, when you build your resilience, yeah, you have a more regulated nervous system, you build resilience, you just feel calmer, you encounter the stressful incidents in your life in a much more relaxed way. Many people say they have better relationships because they are not always like, yeah,
yeah.
ought to pick a
Just,
fight. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
And
just
I'm,
it's just beautiful.
and I mean, I guess you probably make like better decisions too.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
probably just feel more connected to your surroundings and
yeah. To
all.
yourself.
I mean,
Yeah, because
also,
you
yeah,
feel your body. You feel your body. You have
yeah.
better connections
Because I
with
think
yourself.
I think too, sometimes when you're stuck in that fight or flight, then you almost kind of leave your body. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in like energetically in some ways, because yeah, if your nervous system's overstimulated, right?
Yes,
Sometimes it's just too much to bear. It's
absolutely.
much easier just to bye.
Yeah, yeah,
And so,
exactly.
yeah, it's amazing.
And
So
it's like,
when you
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, and I mean, only teach so that the client learns it safely. But it's
Right.
really, it's the client's own body that is so amazing.
Yeah.
We really have that all within us. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and just yeah, and trusting yourself in that
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
When
exactly.
you had your first session,
Yes.
do you want to tell us about that then?
Yes. So sorry, we come a long way because you asked
No.
me before. So my first session was because my Jigit and Reiki colleague was training at the time in
Yeah.
TRE, and I was just curious. I didn't have anything where I was like, I have certain pain. I didn't have any emotional issues like anxiety or anger. I was fit and healthy, and I was like, I want to experience that just because I'm interested in all kind of alternative modalities. And all I remember was like it was super relaxing and it felt a bit weird because
Right.
as I explained before, you're not lying on the floor or on your yoga mat on a daily basis and start shaking. So that was the
Right.
weird bit. And many clients also say that they really verbalize it and say like, God, this feels odd. No, sorry.
Yeah.
Not feels odd. They say, this is odd. I can't believe I'm lying
Right.
on the floor. I'm shaking, but it feels amazing. Yeah. So don't think
Right.
how or what you're doing. Just feel into your body and feel, yeah, the relaxation kicking in or the
Right.
stress melting away. So, and this was my experience as well. It was really relaxing. It was a bit weird. And I had the best good night's sleep afterwards. And that's also a majority of clients really feed that back. Because again, when you're so relaxed, you might notice that after a spa treatment, yeah, you're so relaxed,
Yes.
you're in an alpha state, and then the next, well, your sleep is just so much better.
Yes.
And that's what I remembered. And I found a few old emails because when I started training, I was like, why did I never continue? And I found a few emails and I wrote to this colleague and I said, well, I've practiced and this is what happened. And I was shaking more and I wasn't shaking as much in the other session. And then it totally fizzled out.
Right.
And now I can only wonder why. So either I didn't understand what TRE could do for me, because I was
Right.
still like, if there's a problem or if I don't need it, I never had trauma. That's, yeah.
Right.
Or I probably didn't trust my body. It's like, well, if I have a problem, I'll just talk to a counselor. Or
Right.
I just simply didn't understand what the benefits are. And yeah, and the other aspect is because it's called tension and trauma releasing. I mean, trauma is a big word. And I,
Yeah.
at the time, was under the impression I never experienced trauma. I don't need that. Maybe I totally dismissed it because of the word trauma. And no,
Right.
thankfully, I have never experienced big T trauma.
Yeah.
Also, again, what I said before, everybody perceives trauma in different ways. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I had losses where other people might say, well, but that was a big tree trauma. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's just life. So,
Right. Yeah. And you're
yeah,
right. People do process differently.
yeah, and perceive trauma differently. And maybe I was like, well, not honest to myself or just brushing it off like this is life and stiff upper lip and I'm not the only one who goes through shit. Yeah, and then as I said, it fizzled out, and it was in 2020 during COVID or the very first lockdown when the experts were talking about we are going through a collective trauma. That's when I remember TAE for the first time again, and I'm like, wow, we are going through it. I mean, I have to say, and I'm very grateful and I was very fortunate. I was in a really good position, safe at home
Yeah.
yeah, just safe and in a good way. And I was like, but how can I help all these people on the front line, people in abusive relationships who are not safe at home, who go through that trauma, people who've lost somebody. I mean, yes, of course we are going through collective trauma, but I'm in a good position. How can I help people? And then I looked into TAE. I looked into training. It made so much sense, and I was like, I want to train in that. And do you know what happened? Actually, the first thing and the first person I kind of helped and healed, obviously
Who's that?
myself. Myself.
Yes.
Because at the time, and I don't know why, but I was really struggling with lower back and hip pain. So much so that
Okay.
I thought, God, it's so bad. I might need a new hip. And
Oh.
yes. And I'm like, again, I don't know why it was so painful. I don't know where the back pain was coming from. Again, I don't need to know. Don't need to analyze. But I remember when I learned all about the tension release and how clever our bodies are, one of the very first questions in my training was then, wait a minute, could you help me with my back and hip pain? And the answer was, I mean, I was delighted. And the answer was like, yes, if it's tension related. I mean, if like
Right.
there
Yeah.
was something mechanically wrong with my hip and I needed a new hip, TRE can't help. But if
Right.
it's tension related because I'm holding so much tension in my body, TRE can help.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wow, this would be amazing. And I mean, that's how it was. I don't know why I was holding so much tension in my hip and lower back. And I, again, don't need to know because I don't need to
Yeah.
talk about what might have happened, or maybe the lockdowns affected me much more than I was. I mean, I was also in a job which I hated.
Right.
But bottom line is I worked with my body and I was able to shake it off. And
Yeah.
to me, that is success. So, and every time, I mean, I play an awful lot of tennis, and sometimes I notice after a session, my lower back. And then I cycle home and I get on the mat and shake it off
Right.
2-3 minutes and it's fine. Yeah. It's totally fine.
It's amazing, though. And I think, yeah, it sounds like such a simple fix for
Yes.
tension, in a way,
Yes.
right?
Exactly. It's so
That's,
simple because it's so innate and so natural.
yeah.
And as I said, keep in mind that, I mean, some research says 80 to 90% of all our health issues and symptoms are based to too much tension we are holding in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
And I
I
mean,
mean,
this
that
is a
makes sense.
huge percentage where a
Yeah.
wee shake can really help.
Yeah. It is, it's amazing, though. And I think it's just nice to have something that, it doesn't have to be so complicated.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I talk about that a lot, like things, I talk about like your spiritual practice, for example, doesn't have to be so complicated, but also just like your overall wellness routines. They
Yeah.
don't have to be this crazy, I don't know, 65-step program. You can just shake it off, just like Taylor
Absolutely.
Swift.
Yeah, exactly. If she knew.
Maybe that's what the song's about.
I
Just
don't know.
saying,
I mean, it's just
maybe
it's a
that would be
phrase,
kind of great,
isn't it?
actually.
I mean, some people say to me as well, I mean, I go to networking events and I talk to people about shaking it off on TRE. And some people
Yeah,
say, I don't need that. I dance wildly in the kitchen. Yes, fine. If that
right.
helps, it's certainly a
Yeah,
first step. But obviously, it's not TRE. TRE goes
no. I'm
deeper.
like, shaking your
But it
booty is a
helps.
little
I
bit
mean,
different, I think.
movement in general heals all wounds. I
Yeah,
was researching this quote recently, and couldn't find whom it is attributed to. But yeah, there is so much. I mean, it could have been Pilates, the founder of Pilates, or it could have been Gabriele
yeah.
Roos. I don't know if you know the 5 rhythm dancing.
I
So
don't know.
either of them could have said movement heals all wounds. But I mean, I I strongly believe it does. And as I said, some people feel much better when they are dancing, some people when they are boxing or going out and
Yeah,
going for a run. Yeah.
yeah,
But if you want to kind of take that one step higher, shake it off. Yes.
yeah. Oh, I love that.
And if, as
It's
I
really
said,
exciting.
if any, and I mean, if your listeners think, oh my God, she's weird or that is whatever, just take away one thing. If you see somebody after a stressful incident shaking, give them the room and reassure them their body is supporting them.
Yeah, it's a huge takeaway.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
and so, if people want to connect with you, Sylvia, where is the best place to do so?
The easiest place is just to go on my website, which is tremendous TRE, all one word,
Okay.
.co.uk. And from them, you find the
Okay.
socials. I'm most active on either LinkedIn and, well, bit of Instagram or on Instagram as well.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, and we'll put links to everything in the show notes as well.
Hmm.
I'm,
Thank
I'm
you,
so
Ashley.
happy. I'm so happy that you could be here today and share your knowledge with us. It's been very, very eye-opening for myself personally, and now
Great.
probably gonna have to call you to learn how to shake it off myself.
Great. I'm
Aw,
here for you. But no, I lost it. I can't remember what I wanted to say. But well, I'm grateful to, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I'm grateful for the opportunity you've given me, because to me it's really important that everybody knows how, first of all, tremendously amazing our bodies are. and how they can heal and help
Yeah.
themselves. And I mean, even if they feel like, well, no, that's not for me, or I want to pop a pill or whatever, at least they know. And then they can make a decision if they want to take that further or not. I mean, it's certainly not for everybody, but I always say the person who wants to really help themselves because they are like, my doctor can't help me, talking doesn't help, this doesn't help. I know I've got the power to do it myself. These are the
Yeah.
people who are like really able to, get the most benefit, I suppose.
That's great. Well, hopefully lots of people will be getting in touch so they can learn how to shake it off too. Well, thank you
Thank you,
so much
Ashley.
again. And I'm sure we will connect soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great.
See
Thank
you
you,
later.
Ashley. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. If you're looking for more, head to healthymetalhippie.com and let's connect. Until next time, wishing you a magical week. See you later.